Ready.
What interests you about street art?
I guess I just always like the sort of rebellious side of it, as ridiculous as it sounds. I don't like blank walls either. Can't stand blank walls and just the sort of freedom of it. It's almost like the last sort of true free speech in art, really, because it's all been so commercialised. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of people like Banksy and that, because like they still class themselves as graffiti when really it's more just street art, or like it's not even street anymore. Like, you obviously started out with all those cool stencils and that, but now it's become like exhibitions and stuff, and I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I mean, like, they are talented artists and they are creative people. But,
How long have you been doing street art yourself?
Well, I mean, it depends how you classify it, really. I mean, like, I've been looking at like dubs from trains and keeping an eye on who's up and who's like talented, who's got good hand style, and who's doing interesting colour pieces. And I've been sketching on bits of scrap paper since I was like 12 years old, really. But I really got into actually going out and doing it, like got the confidence to go out and actually start doing it on walls about 2-3 years ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where are your favourite areas of street art? This could be in the world or in London or...
I've always been a big fan of European graffiti, Germany and Eastern European countries and Spain and places like that. I've always had a lot more of a creative sort of spin on it. It's always something interesting, something different. You know, you might not be able to read it, but you can't help but look at it. Whereas in the UK, like, there's a lot of talented artists, but because of, you know, how much harder it is over here due to cameras and everywhere, and just the sort of the and with the Olympics coming up, they've just cracked down on it a lot. So as a result, that people don't have as much time to do what people in Europe can so freely do. But Europe's the place to be, man.
Where do you practice yourself?
Any scrap bit of paper you can get your hands on. Places like Banksy Tunnel and Pig's Alley and 40s over in Feltham, and Zombie, which is down in Wimbledon Park. Just, you know, casual legals are good if you want to get better, because, you know, no one wants to go out there and look like an absolute toy from the start. But, you know, there's different types of graphs, so it depends what you're into.
What do you use yourself?
What, tin-wise?
Yeah.
Depends, really. I mean, the tins, they're all different pressures and they're different types of paint, and depending on where you're going and what you're doing. But, I mean, the big thing over here is chrome burners and black burners, just big chrome and black dubs. But if you're going to do colour pieces, I'd go for... the new Montana blacks are quite good. And belt-ons, obviously, are always nice, clean, fresh outline.
What does street art represent to you?
Like I said earlier, free speech, I guess. I mean, I can understand why people see it as... they just go out there and they put their names up everywhere like they own everything. But it's not in essence about that. I mean, like, if you don't do it, I can understand that's what you see. But for people who are into the whole subculture, because it's a lot deeper than just going out there and painting a wall. I mean, there's like websites, forums, shops, like whole like groups of people who devote their lives and every night to sort of this. And there's nothing quite like it. Like, it's better than any drug or any experience that I've been on. It's something freeing about it, just being on tracks or something like that.
What would you like to see in a street art exhibition?
Something original, something interesting. If you're gonna do stuff like that, like big, like commercialised things like that, I'm always a big fan of characters and getting almost a story going across the wall with different styles and development and a lot of colour and angles. A lot of angles. Angles are good in the dub.
Who are your inspirations?
Oh god, too many. When I was a lot younger, I mean, the people that got me into it were writers from around here, like DTL and HTF and all Swore and Scarab and all them. They got me into it. But like, as I started getting older, I started looking at more interesting people like Dame and Insa and 123 Clan and all of the DWS crew and the All City crew in the UK are just the ones really to be looking out for. All Zombie and that are all sick, and all RT crew and GHZ, Bear Crews, all of them really. Towns and that, I used to love Towns though. Yeah.
Cool. What's your take on the laws of street art?
The laws? Shouldn't really be any laws. Kind of against the law, which kind of defeat the point of it, but
Why?
I don't know, I feel like if it's something that is individual to a person, everyone has their own style, everyone has their own way, everyone's got their own thing they like to write, everyone's got their own tag, I guess, so really it can be anything, as long as it's what you want to do, and it's your style, and it's what expresses what you want it to, and it can be anything.
But without the laws, would you not think that the rebellion of street art would go, and everyone would be doing it?
No, because it's one of those things that, like, I know a lot of people that try it, and like, you know, for a couple of months they're really on it, and they're sketching, and they're down for it, and then they just go out and they try it, and it's just not for them. It's one of those things that, like, certain people it will just click, and like, either you love it, and like, you just want to go out and sketch all the time, you can't help it, or you just sort of like, you like the idea of it, and you don't really stick to it.
What do you feel goes hand in hand with street art? For example, style.
Weed. That's the one thing everyone I've ever met who writes generally into drugs and that, which is kind of puts a bad view on it. But like, I mean, that's just their character. They can't really help it. But music, I mean, I don't feel there's any particular music that does go with graffiti, but I find music's always a good inspiration for it, and it's another way of expressing yourself, really, music. So whatever you're into, just use it as your influence, listen to it more, whatever, man. Like, everyone gets their influences from other, like, completely random places. It could be a person, it could be a bit of dirt on the floor, I don't know, man. I don't know, anything can influence you, so I don't really have an answer.
Do you think street artists are the underdogs of society?
That's kind of a hard question to ask because there's so many different types of graffiti artists, but like, there are certainly some who I'd still rate as artists. I mean, they still do what they do, but like, there's certainly a few people that I wouldn't class as functioning members of society. But I wouldn't go so far as to say they're the underdogs of society. I feel that's a bit harsh. Because, I mean, they do have talents, but a lot of the time, just due to the criminalisation of all of it, they fall into other sort of areas, and they get into, like, stealing and stuff, and, like, or, like, selling drugs or whatever, and, like, as a result, they kind of get a bad view on them. But, like, a lot of these people who are like that, like, if you sat them down and gave them a bit of paper, they'd draw something beautiful.
And finally, do you think there's any way of making street art more environmentally friendly?
Just change the media's spin on it. I mean, really, like, it's given such a, like, negative view, like, in the papers and by the government and that, like, it's this horrible thing that sort of pollutes society, but really, what's paint on walls doing to hurt anyone? I mean, you go down a track on a train, would you rather look out at fences, bramble bushes and concrete walls, or just colour and style and madness and things that you'd never think to draw, but someone somewhere else thought to draw and put it on that wall? I mean, like, I feel if it was, I mean, not so much legal, because that would also defeat some sort of thrill in it, but like, if there wasn't such a hurry to get rid of it as soon as it's there, and like they left, you know, like I can understand like people's houses and that, fuck that, because no one wants, like, it's their house, it's their property, you don't want to just go like vandalise it and that, but like the tracks for trains and that, and like little rooftop reaches and that, which like no one will ever look at unless you're looking for the dub. I don't understand why they get rid of it. Like, it makes it prettier and it gives it character.
Thank you very much.